If you treat men reasonably well, you get a reasonable response. If you treat prisoners like animals, then it's hardly surprising that they respond in the same fashion, in my view. My name is Muriel Allen, and for some 8 years prior to my retirement in 1990, I was governor of Kingston Prison here in Portsmouth. It was built in 1872 following the cessation of transportation of prisoners, and that is why we have so many Victorian prisons in England now, and Kingston is no exception. It's had a very varied history. For example, at one time it was used as a boys' borstal. At another time, during the war for instance, it was used as a police station. In 1970, following the abolition of capital punishment, it was decided to open the prison as an experiment with a total population of life sentence men. The prison was built by the then borough of Portsmouth. It was a small borough, and that is why if you look up at the prison facade, you will see the Portsmouth coat of arms, Heaven's Light, our guide. And the local ratepayers paid for that prison. And I can only assume that it was on available land at the time. I don't think there's any other special reason for it to be there. I'd certainly think the railway came before the prison, that would have been established. But I can only assume that the reason for its actual location would be that the land was available. I think that most people in Portsmouth are aware of the prison. I don't think the people of Portsmouth should ever be afraid that they're going to be murdered in their beds, or that there will be a riot or an outbreak. Kingston Prison is one of those very good training prisons, offering men in prison the opportunities and occupying their days, so that you don't get that level of discontent. I think certainly the local people are aware of the prison, but you know, in a curious kind of way. They're curiosity, but no further than that. We had some very bad moments, as in all prisons, and I think possibly my worst memory of the prison was one day when one of the staff was taken hostage by a prisoner. You see, Kingston Prison has enormous advantages over other prisons. First of all, it's relatively small as prisons go. Secondly, it has a focus of one sentence only, which makes an important consideration for the regime. I think the key event was when we were able to open the new printing industry. Formerly, when I arrived, there had been a typewriter assembly. The men didn't even make the parts. All that they did was to assemble the parts into typewriters. The printing industry is still there. Each man was allowed to have a transistor radio in his cell, provided that he or his family sent in the batteries, because we could not use the radios at public expense. Provided they were used also with earphones, so that they weren't a nuisance to the cell next door. Yes, certainly, and I was in on the very early days of bringing in computers into the prison. I had a good working relationship with IBM, who gave me their obsolete models on which we could train the men. Yes, any educational attainment which was open to the normal population was certainly open to prisoners. No difficulty about that at all, no. The second key event for me was the opening of what had been the old governor's house. I didn't want to live, normally governors live on the premises, but I didn't want to do that for one reason or another. So I converted the governor's house into facilities for staff. Alcohol, well, people do try to smuggle alcohol. Men deprived of alcohol will always try to find some kind of substitute or make their own. but they were never very successful because of the smell. We detected the smell very early on. We had a wall patrol, that is to say, an officer walking round. No dogs, no dogs. I would not have dogs in the prison. But the officer would walk round observing, watching, because people throw things over the wall, you see. I'm very pleased and proud to tell you not one escape from the prison in my 8 years. But I am embarrassed to tell you that we lost one man on an abscond, which is different from an escape, when he was being taken to the local hospital for treatment on his knee, and he ran away. Terribly embarrassing and very difficult to explain to the Home Secretary in my report. A fortnight after I left, the new governor phoned me to say, "They don't like me, they're running away." And 2 men had got over the wall, somehow. He said, "I know that you had a clean sheet as far as escapes went, but I'm sorry to tell you, and I'm telling you before you read it in the newspaper."